This is the Zhongnanhai, an expansive compound that houses the residences and offices of the Chinese Communist Party's top leadership and the Chinese central government. It was a former imperial garden and is located adjacent to the famous Forbidden Palace in Beijing. The Chinese state leaders, including the president, vice president, prime minister, the CCP secretary-general and other top CCP and PRC leadership figures live here and carry out many of their day-to-day administrative activities and meetings with foreign dignitaries inside the compound. The complex is divided into north and south, which are two main sections reflecting the parallel authority of the highest level of state and party institutions in China. North Zhongnanhai is used as the headquarters of the State Council and includes the offices of its senior-most leaders as well as its principal meeting rooms. South Zhongnanhai is the headquarters of the CCP Central Committee, including its staff and its highest-level coordinating institutions, such as the Standing Committee, Politburo and Secretariat. As one proof of China's unparalleled and immense history and centuries of continuous civilization, construction of the Zhongnanhai was commenced during the Jin dynasty in the 12th century when Emperor Zhongzong of Jin built the northern lake in 1189 called the Taya with an attached palace called the Palace of Great Peace. Then during the Yuan dynasty, which succeeded the Jin dynasty, the Taya lake was expanded, covering approximately the area occupied by the northern and central seas today, and 3 palaces were built around the lake. The Zhongnanhai remained that way for nearly 200 years until the Ming dynasty came into power and created the current basic structure in the 15th century with an addition of the southernmost part of its 2 lakes in the complex in 1421. By the late Qing dynasty, which ruled from 1636 to 1912, Zhongnanhai was used as the de facto center of government when the dynasty established its capital in Beijing and started building its residences in the Zhongnanhai instead of in the Forbidden City. After the establishment of the Republic of China in 1912, the new president, Yuan Shikai, remodeled Zhongnanhai to become the formal center of what would become known as the Beiyang government. In 1949, CCP chairman Mao Zedong moved into the complex after the establishment of the People's Republic of China. The People's Republic government built many of the structures that are visible today in the compound. Mao received many important foreign leaders in the Zhongnanhai, including Nikita Khrushchev, Che Guevara, Richard Nixon, among others.
The President met with Chairman Mao Zedong. The 79-year-old leader was in frail health, but the lively hour-long meeting included philosophy, history, and banter. Mao said, "I voted for you during your last election." Nixon said, "I think the most important thing to note is that in America, at least at this time, those on the right can do what those on the left can only talk about."
In addition to Mao Zedong, PRC's early leaders such as Zhou Enlai and Deng Xiaoping also lived in the compound. Mao's favorite places in the Zhongnanhai were the Library of Chrysanthemum Fragrance, which was his personal residence, filled with bookshelves, and the poolside house, next to the large indoor swimming pool, where he would spend much of the day swimming or reading books and reports by the swimming pool. After Mao's death, the Chrysanthemum Library along with many of his belongings was preserved as a museum which is not accessible to the general public, and since Zhongnanhai became the central government compound, it has been mostly inaccessible to the general public. The exception to this was during the years of relative freedom following the end of the Cultural Revolution, when the compound was open to members of the public, who could obtain tickets to visit the compound from relevant government authorities. Following the political turmoil that culminated in the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests and massacre, security was greatly increased. Access has now been closed to the general public, with numerous plain-clothed military personnel patrolling the area on foot. However, cars are not strictly prohibited from stopping on stretches of adjacent roadway, and cabs are allowed to stop except during important conferences or events. In addition to the Zhongnanhai, there's another official presidential residence in western Beijing called the Jade Spring Hill Residence, and several more recent leaders, such as Hu Jintao, reportedly chose to live in the Jade Spring Hill compound due to overcrowding inside the Zhongnanhai. It's worth noting that China's current leader Xi Jinping also has a home in Jade Spring Hill. After a senior leader's death, their spouse is often permitted to stay in the house indefinitely.